It's that time of year again.
Just another day for you and me in paradise.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 worst video games of 2016.
These robots gone wild are tearing the place apart!
For this list, we're looking at the most loathsome titles released within the past year. If you don't see the game you hated the most on here, be sure to check out our top 10 most disappointing games of 2016. No Man's Sky.
But he was caught and arrested.
Number 10, Hardware Rivals.
Like a storm.
What do you get when you mix Call of Duty and Twisted Metal? Nope, this isn't a bad joke. Hardware Rivals lets you pilot a tank called a fast attack vehicle to blow up your enemies and take home the glory. If there was any glory in playing this game, that is. Unfortunately, this $20 online shooter has nothing unique going for it, as it lacks very little content to keep you interested. Game modes are just your run-of-the-mill deathmatch and capture the flag, the action is bland and unengaging, progression just doesn't feel as satisfying as it should be, and the weapon balancing can be really unfair at times. It's best if you just pass on this experience. Number 9, Magnets Fully Charged. We've had a lot of good indie games over the past few years. Magnets Fully Charged is not one of those. While the gameplay was basic and easy to learn, it wasn't enjoyable enough to stick around with. Gameplay was tedious, and the game doesn't do anything with the ideas it has. Instead, each level feels more like the one that just came before it, but with a bad difficulty spike, leading to a monotonous experience. Also, for a game whose character designs are admittedly somewhat creative, the animation lacks personality. In other words, this game just comes across as lifeless and occasionally boring. Number 8, Kickoff Revival. Before the FIFA games, Sega's Football Manager, and Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer, we had the simple series of Kickoff in the early 90s. Unfortunately, times have changed. Keeping the same control scheme from the older titles only made the responsibleness and accuracy feel really awkward. In between trying to guess what actions your player would actually do from the single button control scheme, the AI is pulling weird maneuvers ranging from pacing back and forth to driving its feet into the ground. And that camera placement does not help with trying to keep up with where the ball is. Number 7, Mighty Number 9. After numerous delays, one would expect the extra time here to be spent polishing up the game, making sure it works and looks nice.
I'm warning you, Beck. Stay away.
Controls were fine, but the level design was horrible, voice acting was cringe-inducing, the game was prone to slowdown, and the art style made the game look just plain ugly.
Come on, Will. Show a bit of enthusiasm.
The lack of quality led to many of the gamer's backers to question their donations to the project. Was it really all that atrocious? Well, there have been worse games, but the reputation it garnered only for it to implode in on itself is what earns it a spot on this list.
Burn. The world must burn.
Number 6, Homefront The Revolution. We could just have you watch a highlight reel to see all of the game's issues, but that wouldn't make this video very interesting now, would it?
Oh my god, run, run, run!
Deep Silver's take on the Homefront series featured an incredibly dull story in addition to a cornucopia of bugs and glitches. NPCs behave in strange ways by running into walls or glitching through objects. Even the player character will go through bizarre animations.
He's not on my list.
Of course he's not, but these things can't be planned for.
Pair that with some choppy frame rates, identical character models, and really bland story missions, and Homefront Revolution became the sequel that nobody asked for and nobody should play.
Keep doing what you're doing, Brady. We need chaos. Then we can rescue my guys in the confusion.
Number 5, Coffin Dodgers. Looking more like a game from the GameCube days, Coffin Dodgers isn't the addictive and exciting kart racer its trailers advertised itself as. as one of 7 old codgers, you must race against death on mobility scooters around your suburban world. Sure, that concept is, unique, but that doesn't make up for some sloppy controls and really bad frame rate drops. Just turning your scooter can feel awkward at times, and the weapon hits won't register on a few occasions. With looping, loud, annoying audio, and the requirement to do some grinding just to afford upgrades, Coffin Dodgers was not the triumphant return for kart racers. Number 4, Bombshell.
Well, Bombshell, you're not exactly what I expected, but you're exactly what I need.
Developer 3D Realms brings us this twin-stick shooter, not action RPG like it calls itself, featuring the incredibly weak story of Shelley Bombshell Harrison and her journey across the galaxy to rescue the president from hostile aliens. Sound familiar? It should, because, fun fact, this game was supposed to be another Duke Nukem title.
I'm looking for some alien toilet to park my bricks. Who's first?
Bombshell features some of the most lackluster level designs and dragged-out boss fights on this list. Combat tends to get repetitive early on, and technical issues will obviously show up from time to time.
Better check in with the commander.
Top it off with a lead character trying way too hard to be cool, and Bombshell was nothing more than a dud.
Oh, you just pissed off the wrong woman.
Number 3, Ghostbusters.
We got our first mission, Ghostbusters. Everyone ready to save this city from imminent death and destruction just like our foremothers?
Yes, we are!
You might be tired about arguing over the movie, but everyone can agree on this one. Many critics and players found Ghostbusters to be boring and fatiguing, even lashing out against the $50 price point.
It happened again.
As for the small presence of playable characters, we have our selection of Ghostbusters with different abilities, but none of them could add a change of pace to the tiring combat. Should you play this game, hopefully for a more reasonable price, don't be surprised if you find every level to be basically a copy of one another. Not even the local co-op was able to save this game, with Fireforge Games filing for bankruptcy 3 days after the game's launch. Youch.
Step into the light.
Gotcha!
Number 2, Alekine's Gun. A Cold War shooter? Sign us up. Well, that's what players would have said if Alekine's Gun hadn't become the mess it is now infamously known for. Not only did it suffer from performance issues and bad controls, but it lacks many features that now have become an industry standard. You can't skip cutscenes, and autosaving is non-existent.
He's right there!
He's right there! Do something!
Even though there are a few fun moments sprinkled in, there just isn't enough to make up for the poor pacing and dated visuals. While many players see this as a clone of Hitman, the game could have been a success had it not contained so many issues in its execution.
Heads up, guards! We haven't guards! We haven't
Before we get to our worst game of the year, here are a few honorable, or in this case, dishonorable mentions. Number 1, Umbrella Corps. Taking the crown as the worst video game of 2016 is Capcom's half-baked and cringe-worthy attempt of turning the horror-based Resident Evil series into a, esports shooter.
No enemies in sight. Oh, I take that back. Intense point-blank firefight. Alpha Team made the smart move and took cover. That's one Bravo team member down.
Intelligent use of cover right there.
Instead of campy survival horror fun, we are given a zombie shooter with clunky mechanics, severe technical issues, and incompetent AI. Its main multiplayer mode was just way too chaotic and confusing for us to even register what is happening on screen. To this day, many are now calling it the worst Resident Evil game of the entire franchise, and that's in a world where Resident Evil 6 exists.
They're with you, Captain, but your personal vendetta isn't gonna get us anywhere.
So, do you agree with our list? Which games do you think were this year's worst?
Don't worry. Before they come back, we'll get our chance to vaporize vengeful Class 4 apparitions too.
For more higher quality top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.